Surprise bill? Need fast funds? CashNet USA can help. When you need money fast, be the hero.
Apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and get a fast decision. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome back to Who's the Bitch? I'm Kara.
And I'm Jackie. And who's the bitch in your life? We want to find out. Hit us up.
We know you have one. Stop
You
acting like
definitely
your
have
life
one.
is so calm and chill. There's definitely a bitch. It doesn't even need to be a huge life-changing thing.
No.
We love am I the bitch for not picking up my friend's Nintendo Switch at the airport? I mean, low
Love it.
stakes. We love a
Love
low
it.
stakes who's the bitch, and you'll find out we love a super high stakes who's the bitch as
You're
well.
damn
We're all
right.
over the place.
There's
We're all over
bitches
the place.
everywhere, guys.
Every situation. But what we were talking about just now before we got on mic was the bitch universe, I would say, of the Real Housewives,
Oh
and
my
specifically the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, we've said this before, but I'm a longtime Bravo head.
Yes.
Long time. Like, I've been in the Housewives for over a decade. Jackie's newer to my world
I'm a
here.
new babe. I'm a newborn babe.
And she's luckily, I told you get into Salt Lake first, right?
So I had already watched the first season of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And I watched it when it first came out. And I was like, oh, this is definitely one of the Housewives I think that I could really lean into. And then I fell off of it because I'm more of like the Netflix, Hulu. Like I live in that world of reality television. Like I live in the streamer world of reality television. So I don't go into the Bravo world.
You like
very
the dating
often.
shows,
Correct.
right?
I like all the fuck ones.
And what about
Yes.
the TLC? What about the human trafficking? Okay, we
the
love
human
that. We love
trafficking.
that.
Well, specifically, and I will say just to defend myself, I mostly like the 90 Day Fiance the other way, where you have to watch dumb fuck Americans go to
other
their
countries. Yeah.
because they never do any research and they're like, oh my God, I don't have any rights here. It's like that. Do you not realize what Jordan is? But you know, that's more my favorite because they're so fucking dumb.
Well,
I don't want
yeah.
to see just people being exploited. I like watching Americans
It's like
being
a reverse
exploited.
Borat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're just, and if you had just Googled it for a moment, you could have learned so much more.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I was saying who's not the bitch are the editors and producers of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because
They're killing it.
Man, you know,
They've been killing it since season 1, and they honestly, they're in the 5th season right now. They have not had a weak season yet, which is
so
amazing.
good. It's so good. I can't believe how obsessed. Because honestly, at first, I'm going to say this. I thought there was like all of the Housewives are all, and I'm not just saying this season because I tried to watch New Jersey too, and
so different.
It's so very very different. But I also like feel like I couldn't get to like them because I hated them all so much, and the tone of their voices were so annoying to me. And that's coming from someone who, oh, don't worry, many people have told me my voice is annoying before.
Well, you're a woman, so obviously you've been told that.
Of course I've been told that. And I have a deeper voice. God help us.
Ugh, disgusting.
Disgusting. But these women have created such a balm for my brain during this our state of emergency.
Yeah.
That like I need them. I have to have them. And if I don't get at least a little bit, like I need to hear their voices.
We didn't
during
have
the
it
day.
over Christmas, and I was like, what the why would you skip episodes over Christmas? Like
That's when we need
this.
them.
Like and now like the other day Jared was just like, okay, well, we're home and the kid, you want to watch a movie? And I go, is it okay if I just watch a little bit of my bullshit and then we can watch a movie? Like I just need mommy needs her meds,
just a little bit. It really does. Like it satisfies a weird craving in your brain.
And you know what's crazy is it's all casting, because it's like you said, you watch Jersey, it didn't do it for you. It's casting, it's location. You don't have to like all of them. I'm just saying Salt Lake specifically, these people are like a really great combo of wackos that are all together, and like for example, they just rebooted New York. New York was like one of my favorites forever because I lived in New York. Like I have an attachment, you know, like I lived in New York. I like to see where they go. I like them. It was also back, like the thing I love about Housewives is that it's women of a certain age. It's not young, tiny, like,
right.
And now, you know, now they've moved it. So now like there's Housewives that are like 30 and I'm like, that's not really interesting to me. I want them like in their 50s.
Yes. I want them jaded and upset.
And like, so the new New York is like not working. It's like they're not a real group of friends. They're all kind of too produced. They all know what's going on. Like Salt Lake is like, it's really like they just give hard and it's like,
it's the dusting
if you were to
of Mormonism.
just play it for anybody too, it's like you have like you want to talk about annoying voices. I mean, Meredith's like, it's like, well, it's like I don't even take sleeping pills. So maybe if I'm like on an international fight or something, like she literally barely touches her tongue to her mouth.
She can barely open her mouth.
And then Lisa Barlow's like, oh my God, love that. Like she's so annoying, and Whitney's annoying. They're all annoying, but like I love them on this TV show together.
I do think it is.
I don't want to hang out with any of them in real life.
Yeah, but you say that, but like I kind of do. Though.
Which ones?
I think Lisa.
Oh, Jackie. Well, that concludes the final episode of Who's the Bitch. Thank you guys so much for listening.
And Heather Gay, obviously.
This 17-episode podcast run has been an absolute joy. I've loved talking to all of you.
She's so
Lisa
evil.
Barlow, you would go to a bar and enjoy your time with Lisa Barlow.
I want to drink her tequila.
You wouldn't.
I need
and
it.
You're not going to drink Vita tequila. I'm sorry. This is not happening. Not on my fucking watch. Heather Gay, sure. Like Heather Gay's another one though who like kind of got like a little bit too big for her britches because of her.
talks like this.
Whitney. Whitney's got a baby voice, and she talks about her healing journey.
And then I saw how, I'm not to say how old her children are, as if her children are so old, but I just was very surprised at how old her children were when they were celebrating like her kid's 13th birthday.
Yeah.
She's got a 13-year-old?
Yeah.
Christ. But you also forget the Mormons, they start early.
Yes, they do. But she also came from an affair. She was like so that's what I love about it is it's all a bunch of like.
Sorry, it's not a Housewives. I know. I just need Kara, you're the only person I can talk to about this. You're all I've got.
Anybody that's coming over from like who's from That's Messed Up too, listening to Who's the Bitch is probably like, oh fuck, she's gonna talk about Bravo here too. Because I really do love talking about it. But yeah, anyway, when people are asking me, when people used to ask me where should I dive into the Housewives, I used to say New York, go into old New York, go into like season 2, 3 of New York.
Okay.
That's when they start going on wild trips and shit, and it's really good. Now I'm kind of like, you want starter, you want to get like younger people into it. I'm like, go SLC. And now it's like, it's dovetailing perfectly for me with Mom Talk. And The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
If it's going to survive this.
I don't know if they're going to survive this, but literally like I am sick. Like I'm on TikTok or Instagram trying to figure out if Jen Affleck is still married to Zach. Like I'm like looking for her wedding ring on videos.
You see Dakota just got hair plugs. He showed a picture of himself and he's just like, look at this. And he just had a big old bloody head because he got a bunch of hair plugs put in. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what you do first, guys. You know, you go right for the hair plugs first. Get a little bit of that taste of money.
Jesus. Oh, it used to be teeth. Now it's hair plugs.
Now it's hair plugs.
People aren't getting those chiclets anymore. They're getting them.
No,
anyway.
I'm sorry. I just needed to bring this up. And thank you so much for letting me pontificate just for a moment about them, because now I'm kind of feeling like they live inside of my brain because I'm not talking to anyone about them. And then I'm like, is this
Are they real?
Especially because I watched them throughout, like not having any power. So I was just kind of, you know,
you're watching them in like kind of high stress situations and just binging it, taking on so much of it at one time.
Need it.
It's crazy. Oh my God. You're also getting to the end of a very explosive season, and I'm excited for your journey. I can't wait for your healing journey.
Oh, I'm going to text.
You're going to be so hilled by the time. Yes. Oh my God. When you get to the end of the season, text me. I'm on my phone blowing.
Can't wait. Now,
what else?
I guess people's phones are blowing up about other things that aren't as fun, but they are a big part of an important conversation that I feel like we should have here at Who's the Bitch. Are plastic surgeons bitches? Now, I'm not saying that all of them are bitches, although I did watch all of Nip Tuck. Did you ever get into that show?
Oh, baby.
Right.
When I tell you that I watched every single episode of Nip Tuck from the front to the back to the end, where when it was the final seasons of that show, it's the worst show I've ever seen in my life.
It really
the beginning couple of seasons, it is so excellent. Like you were like, this is prestige television. This is like nothing I've ever watched. This is so fucking good. By the end, where remember there's an agent in Hollywood who has a bear machine and is stuffing people like bears to kill them.
Yes,
I mean, like it literally becomes like an episode of Passions at the end. Like it becomes so over the top crazy. Like what's going on?
Dropping Passions.
Like, my God. You know what I mean though? But Nip Tuck was I was obsessed with Nip Tuck.
And I feel like I haven't trusted a plastic surgeon since. And I think it is only because of Nip Tuck. But then you read stories like this and I think maybe it's not just because of Nip Tuck.
Tell the people.
And that is Brooke Shields. So Brooke Shields has a memoir coming out. So she's hitting all the interview circuits right now. But part of what she exposed in her memoir is that when she went in to get a labia rejuvenation, she went in and essentially they asked her if like her labia was bothering her. And she's like, actually, it has bothered me. So I wouldn't mind. And it's technically cosmetic, even though she had a lot of problems with it, which is absolutely ridiculous. So she went in to have that taken care of. And while the plastic surgeon was in there, they decided to give her a little bit of a tightening up, I believe it's called a vaginal rejuvenation.
So she was going in for a labiaplasty.
I'm sorry. Yes.
She was going in for a labiaplasty, and then she ended up walking out with a bonus unasked for vaginal rejuvenation.
Correct.
I wrote this in my notes as Brooke Shields' vaginal hijacking.
And that is exactly what happened, because could you imagine someone that already feels like, I guess, that they get to play God all the time, getting in there and just assuming that a person would want this without asking them first?
Yeah.
And like the plastic surgeon apparently was like, I did this for free. Baby, I gave this to you for free.
Oh my God.
As if it was a good,
what if
positive
something had gone wrong?
Yes.
Why would you ever be like, oh, by the way, I gave you whiter teeth while you were under? Like, I don't know. It's like, that's just not it. When you're under, let's just do what we signed on the dotted line about, you know?
Surprise bill? Need fast funds? CashNet USA can help. When you need money fast, be the hero.
Apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and get a fast decision. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times.
McCrispy strips are now at McDonald's. Tender, juicy, and its own sauce. Would you look at that? Well, you can't see it, but trust me, it looks delicious. New McCrispy strips, now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And this brought up a lot of questions I had about, I know that I've heard tale of the fact that sometimes if people have a vaginal birth and they give birth vaginally and they get, ripped from lip to tip and they got to go in there and they got to sew them up, because the people that I've heard that had to get sewed up, that they just do it while you're on the table.
Yeah.
So they'll just sew you up there. And sometimes they'll put in what, Kara referred to as the daddy
Well, I think it's disgusting. I referred to it as that's like an old term for when you get an episiotomy, which is when they have to sew you back up, that they put in an extra stitch, which has always been called the daddy stitch, to make you tighter for your husband. I mean, this goes back to why we started this fucking podcast. We were starting this because we were like, well, why is every Am I the Asshole entry my wife just gave birth 2 weeks ago and she won't fuck me. What's going on?
Yes.
The way that men just feel like vaginas are just there for their pleasure, is so insane. And this all goes into the daddy stitch, this vaginal rejuvenation without asking. It's because you're literally doing it for a man, really. No woman is, sure, you can have incontinence issues and stuff or whatever, but I don't think that was what was happening.
And if you choose to go do that, good for you.
But I've literally heard that vaginal rejuvenation is more painful than childbirth.
And also, I've heard lots of stories about having to then go in and stretch it back out again, and how painful that
exercises to get rid of it.
Yeah, to make it more usable in other ways.
Listen, I'll be 1,000% honest. I did not tear during my births of my 9-pound children.
Wow.
I don't know how I did not. But I did not. So I don't have this experience. But I do have the experience of everything is different down there. Everything feels different. Like,
of course,
sex feels different. Everything feels different. So, but like that's, you're not, that's like your choice. And like you can, I don't know. It just grosses me out because it just feels like it's just like commodifying women's like genitals to be like, oh, this is, I got to do a solid for the man in your life.
Right, because we're already told that our bodies aren't ours from the day we're fucking born. That everything we put on our bodies, like, well, think about how the men are going to think about that. You know, it's like, it's just, it's so none of it's ours.
Yeah.
So then I can't even have my vagina either. You're already like taking its rights away, but then you're going to actually do something to it without my consent.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
I'm surprised she
Great.
didn't like sue or something. That's really
She
fucked.
was apparently so embarrassed
And traumatized. Yeah.
Yes. And that she like did, because like she's essentially, it was like pitched to her as if like, you want this. You obviously want this. So of course she's going to be all fucked up about it because you're already going through a surgery that is vulnerable.
And why didn't you just ask her before? Why not?
Right.
It's not like you got down there for the first time on surgery day.
Yeah.
Like, if you were down there for the consult, why weren't you like, oh, we could also tighten up in here if that's something you'd like?
If that's something you would like to do.
Meanwhile, I would never in a million years. People say it's so fucking painful, vaginal rejuvenation. They say it's so fucking painful. And I'm like, I don't need it. I feel fine. Yeah.
I don't, just leave it alone.
Yeah. Guess what? It's working. My husband's finishing every time pretty quickly.
It's fine. Yeah. And he's fine.
Yeah, he's
and
fine.
not that it even matters. But I obviously, you know, we know who the bitch is in this situation. I just needed to yell about it because I was so upset for Brooke Shields.
Yeah, fuck
and
that.
Then anytime I think about the idea of a daddy stitch, it makes me want to
It feels very like 1950s. Like, I didn't even think we were like still doing that. But like, there are women that ask for that too. They're like, oh, my husband like really wants it to be tight afterwards.
Certainly.
Like, oh my God, stop it.
And again, if you want that, good for you. You know,
Good for you.
You know, you do it, bitch. But like, it's just, but if you don't, it's completely
that fucking plastic surgeon is the bitch. But should we get to some of our solicited advice today?
Yeah,
solicited advice, excuse me. We've got a bunch of emails today, which is fun. Jackie, why don't you read this first one?
I got you, baby.
Down here.
You got
Hello, lovely ladies. Thank you for the hours of entertainment, levity, and tipsy wisdom in these dark days. I wonder if you could help me, give me some perspective on this situation that has been bothering me for some time now. Am I the bitch for outing my coworker? At my old job, I was frequently paired to work with this girl, and we got along just fine from the beginning. She was very stoic and no bullshit, but very diligent about only doing precisely the expected standard. No more, no less, and taking breaks. I have a tendency to do too much, so I liked having someone who pulls their own weight, but also gave me permission to be gentler with myself. And I like a straight shooter. Anyways, my boss asks how I'm getting along with her, and he's surprised when I tell him it's all good. Apparently, he and pretty much everyone else have issues with her and her, quote, attitude. Over the following weeks, I initiated conversations with her about the work culture and kind of compared our job to the one I used to work at so I could sort of indirectly tell her what the social expectations are. She had told me that she has Asperger's and made me promise not to tell anyone. Meanwhile, I'd become the go-between for this girl and everyone else. Anytime anyone felt slighted by her, they would come to me for an explanation, and I'd have to say, you just need to be really clear with her. Or, I'm sorry she's not all warm and fuzzy, but she's a good person. You just gotta meet her where she is. If she were a man, blank. Basically always answering, what's her problem? Finally, a few months later, after I'd given my 2 weeks, my boss pulls me aside and says there's been another issue with this coworker being rude and non-communicative, and he's being pressured to let her go. I break and tell him she has Asperger's, but she asked me not to tell because of the stigma it carries and how people may treat her differently. I pleaded with him to let her keep her job and not disclose what I told him. He seemed really relieved and enlightened by the information and agreed to be discreet, and that's the last I heard. I know she kept her job for another 6 months after that before finally being let go. She doesn't respond when I reach out. I've always really struggled with whether this was the right thing to do. My intentions were good, but I betrayed her trust for a job she wasn't even staying at anyway. Am I the bitch?
Well, listen, Listen, first of all, I was asking about this before. Asperger's, I believe now is just rolled up into just like being on the spectrum. So we'll just talk about it like that. We said Asperger's here because this is what the person wrote in. But your intentions were good, but you did betray her trust. And we don't know that she wasn't staying at the job. She left the job after 6 months, but we don't really know why. We think she got let go, whatever. I do think that you were the bitch for saying something.
Yeah,
I don't think you should have said something because that's honestly like a medical diagnosis that someone's asking you to keep secret. But I get exactly where you're coming from.
Completely.
Like I'm almost like I would have done the same thing. Like
I probably would have done the same thing. I understand.
But I mean, I guess if I had it all to do over again, I would have gone to her and said,
you talked to
hey,
her
listen,
first.
I know you think that this is stigmatizing, but I actually think that like this could help at work for them to just, for the manager at least, to know. We don't need to express this to everybody at the company, but just for the manager to know that you have like, you know, that you're neurodiverse. You communicate differently and you learn differently. And yeah. And I think hopefully you would have been able to convince her, but if not, then it's like, you know, I hope that she gets to a place where she feels like comfortable telling her employers about being neurodiverse, because I think that people have got to get more on board with that.
I think that's really what I'm taking from this. I more feel bad for your coworker, and not even just because of like you talking to your boss, but I feel bad that she was at a place, and hopefully she's moved past that place if she wants to be able to communicate, because that's also a part of communicating what your needs are and where you can meet people, especially in a workplace. I'm not saying you have to disclose, you know, what you're diagnosed with. You never should have to. But I would find that, like, at least I'm saying as someone that sometimes can be difficult to communicate with just because my brain's all over the place, I oftentimes, and especially in new relationships of any kind, usually talk about, like, if I don't text you back, never take it personally. If I do this,
I was going to ask you about that. Sometimes you don't text me back for a long time.
Yeah, and you never take it personally.
And I spiral about it.
You know, and you don't need to spiral about it, because my problem is I look at a text, I respond in my brain, and I put my phone down, and then it goes away because I have ADHD.
Yeah, me too.
And I just immediately forget, and then I'll see that like a text later, and then I'm like, oh God, I didn't even respond to the last one.
I know. If I should just have like a button on my phone that just spells out the words automatically. Oh God, I thought I responded to this.
Yes.
But I do that all the time. But we digress.
But
like
discussing, I tried to communicate my, not say communication failures, but something like the things that I struggle with. And I try to be more open about them so that, you know, never take it personally. Yeah. You know, it's like it's communicating that in a relationship is difficult to do because it's also vulnerable. And you also have to know those things about yourself and have done a lot of research into your own brain.
But also a person with Asperger's might be like, no, my hard line is that I don't tell people I have this.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But I think it would have been like, the move would have been to go to her and say like, listen, I'm leaving. I want you to stay here if that's what you want. I'm just getting some feedback on like people. The other thing too is like, is she getting the fucking job done? Does everybody have to be a sweetie, nice baby? It's like what you said. It's what the emailer said in their email. If she were a guy, would anybody care?
No. If
the coworker was Steve, would it be a big deal that Steve is blunt and just asks for what he wants and gets the job done and then goes home and doesn't fuck around and talk to anybody or go to happy hour? No one would care.
No.
But because it's like a woman, it expected to be like nicer and cutesy and whatever. But whatever, that's another digression. I would have just gone to her and been like, I think you should tell your boss, like go talk to the boss about like what your needs are in terms of communication. You know?
Right. And you don't need to disclose a diagnosis to do that. It is just about more open communication, which I imagine she struggles with. If she's on the spectrum, I imagine she struggles with that. And so that is completely understandable.
Right.
But it is so insane to me that like, because so many different neurodivergences show differently in people that are born a woman, that it is not accepted, then you are immediately labeled oh, you're not a team player. I think it's also because so many women are seen as people pleasers that it's like, oh, you're just a bitch.
Yeah.
And then you get labeled a bitch.
Right.
Which, of course, here we try to take back the idea that it's not always a bad thing.
You're a very well-intentioned bitch here. Like, you're very well-intentioned. Like, I said, my intentions would have been the exact same. Like, I'm a fixer. I'm like a helper.
Yes.
I would have done the same. I would have done like,
I don't want her to lose her job.
But like, put another like sort of diagnosis or condition or something. And like, what if somebody was like, I'm pregnant, but don't tell anyone at work. And then everyone was like, she's kind of acting really tired and being slow. And you were like, well, she's pregnant. You know, like that wouldn't be your place to say that she's pregnant either. Even though it's like, you're trying to defend her, you're trying to help her. That's not your place, you know? So like, I would have figured another way around it. And honestly, it sounds like you saved her job for another 6 months, but I bet the reason she's not reaching out is because maybe she's annoyed that you did that. And that's too bad. I don't know. Maybe you've reached out to apologize and like explained yourself, and
she's blunt and doesn't want to be your friend.
Right. It could just be like, you are my coworker from a job I don't have any longer, and now I do not need to be in touch with you. You know, like.
But also that would totally eat me up knowing if it was because of this. So I completely understand why you wrote in, because that would also eat
But
me
I don't think you should like lose any more sleep over it.
No.
It's like, she's gone from the job. She decided not to disclose her stuff. Even with you disclosing part of it, it didn't help like her at this job. And I hope that friend finds a job where her skill set works and where everybody's accepting of her neurodivergence, because it doesn't sound like it was this job that you were at.
You know what I dare say? I think you're an absolved bitch.
Yes.
I absolve you, bitch.
I absolve you. Oh. Thank you for coming to the church of Who's the Bitch.
You don't even have to say any Hail Marys. I'm not asking you for it. Yeah, I said Hail Marys.
Yeah, that's right. Hail Jackies. You got to do a bunch of Hail Jackies.
Hail Karas.
You got to go. Hail Jackie, full of coffee. Hallowed be thy name. I don't even know the rest.
Right.
I'm not even, I'm not Christian.
You don't know.
I don't know it. I know it from
do.
movies, literally. Hail Mary, full of grace. Hallowed be thy
Lord is
thy
with
kingdom come, thy will be done. Am I on the right?
Close.
Okay,
no, it's a different one.
The Lord is with you. Peace be with you and also with you.
Whoa, I was with you. See, you
I'm
know
just giving you the
get this bitch in a church.
I'm just giving you the classics I've picked up at weddings.
I love this.
All right. This is hilarious because our next call, we are going to, you guys can call always, of course, at Who's the Bitch. It has our phone number to call and leave us voicemails. You can send us emails at who'stheblpn@gmail.com. And you can also send us DMs at Who's the Bitch LPN on Instagram. This caller figured out a way to do it totally differently. She emailed us a voice note. She's like, as a millennial, for some reason, leaving a voice note mail seems terrifying. So here's a voice note from our next caller.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. Tell us in the voicemail who's the bitch. Beep.
Hi, ladies. First off, Jackie, I love you. I've been listening to Page 7 for a really long time.
I love you too.
And Kara, I need you to know that when I was in middle school, I was at youth group, and my pastor asked,
in the voice. Yeah, it's in the voice.
what was the first thing we were going to ask Jesus when we got to heaven? And I legitimately said, I need to know who killed John Benet Ramsey.
Oh my God, girl. Yes.
He was like, what the actual
It's
fuck?
my first question when I meet Jesus.
Anyways, love this podcast. Let me preface this by saying, I understand that in this situation, I am probably the bitch, but I am hoping that I can get a little validation, at least from Jackie.
Self-labeled bitch. Oh, for me.
Like
okay.
Jackie, I am a little AMC A-list girly.
Yes, bitch.
And I go to the movies all the time.
Best $24.99 you can ever spend.
At least once a week. I go to the movies with people. I go to the movies alone.
$24.99.
I feel like increasingly people's behavior at the movies just baffles me. Like, I do not understand why people make the decisions they make. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple examples of this. First one, my birthday is on New Year's Eve. It blows. It's the worst birthday. I know Holden says that his birthday is the worst, but
no, New Year's Eve trumps it.
Everything's closed or expensive or super crowded. So I can never do anything on my birthday. I hate it. So the only thing I wanted to do on my birthday this year was go see Nosferatu. Jackie, I know you understand.
Yeah.
I was so excited. We show up. The theater's pretty full, so there's not really, you can't move if you're next to someone who sucks. And boy, did I sit next to someone that sucks. It was this girl. She very obviously did not want to be there. She was on her phone. Every 2 minutes, she was checking her phone to see if she had a notification, which in a dark movie theater is jarring. she also like wouldn't sit still. I mean, like fidgeting the whole fucking movie, like moving her like puffer jacket and like adjusting her chair and like sitting up and sitting back. And this is going to sound super petty, but every time she took a sip of her icy, she would like wham it back into the cup holder. And like nothing takes you further away from like getting immersed in Nick Holt being a scream queen than like the reminder that the person next to you is drinking a fucking icy. Okay, so like a couple more examples. And these examples, it's always dudes. Like it's always some like dude bro who has like no self-awareness. But like just this week, we went to go see a movie. It's not a very popular movie. It was like a 5 p.m. showing on a weekday. So like there were 2 other parties in this theater. So we get there, we sit down, and another party gets there and they sit in literally the back row. And then this dude walks in and sits one seat buffer away from me and my partner. One seat buffer. There's no one else in the theater. It baffles me. And then the like trailers start to run and this woman comes in and sits directly next to him, my partner. So I thought the 1 seat buffer was wild. And like in reality, there was no seat buffer. And I know what you're thinking. It's like maybe you're sitting in the middle of the theater and you picked the best seat. So of course people want to sit next to you. We don't. We usually sit like on the aisle because I value my like personal space a little bit. So we try to like pick seats that distance ourselves from people. So why are you looking at the seat map when you're buying your tickets and you see 2 seats are taken and you're like, oh, I know where I want to sit, and you pick those 2 seats? It's wild. And then like, here's another example. I went to go see Maxine, which is literally a movie about a girl who gets stalked. And I was the only one in the theater. I went alone. And some dude bro shows up and sits 2 seats away from me. Like, bro, have a little self-awareness. What the fuck are you actually doing? So I like pretend to go to the bathroom and sat a couple rows back so I could keep my eyes on that shifty motherfucker. Anyways, this is like way too long. I'm sorry, you guys. It's like, I actually have like real life problems, but this is what I'm going to choose to send you guys.
I understand.
So yeah, am I the bitch? I ask, knowing the answer.
Dude,
wow.
I get you. I just want you to know you are valid. I hope you feel seen.
I hear you. I see you.
Yes,
I respect
because
you.
as a Stubbs, as a fellow
We're
Stubbs.
holding space for the Stubbs.
Holding space for Stubbs. I am always holding space for Stubbs.
But let me ask you this really quickly before you fully jump in. Because I have found, obviously, that flight behavior on flights has gotten out of fucking hand. Like people fucking clipping toenails on flights and doing all this crazy shit. Have you noticed in the movie, because I go to the movies quite a bit, but you go much more than me. Have you noticed that behavior has gotten more out of pocket? I mean, I don't really notice people looking at their phones a lot when I go to the movies.
I think it is more, it's definitely way more in the like close proximity, because as someone that really enjoyed, I think the only thing I enjoyed during the quarantine was how little, like how much space you had to have around you, especially in a movie theater, because they wouldn't allow as many tickets to be sold for every showing.
Oh, right.
And I loved that because then you had to have distance from each other. And it's one of my favorite part about being an AMC Stubbs member is that I can see where everyone's sitting so that I can get a seat far away from everybody. So I completely get that, because that always drives me crazy when it's a whole open space and then people get close to you. And I also feel like that, I don't know if it's just because the theater has gotten so expensive, if you're not an AMC Stubbs member, that people feel that they have more of a right to act however they want to act. Yeah. But I do wonder if it has to do with quarantine and people not being around people as much and how much it damaged everybody.
And generally, like that now you can see Wicked on Amazon like a month later or whatever, or some of these movies just come out on. So now it's like, well, yeah, you're used to just being on your couch watching a major motion picture rather than the group experience. Yeah, I mean, I think it broke everybody for sure.
Yes, and it makes me, like, this voicemail reminds me of this story we made a lot of fun of over on Page 7, where there was this dude that there was a viral picture got taken of this man that had fallen asleep at Love Lies Bleeding, which is a really hot movie. His hand was down his pants, and he had multiple little bottles of empty Fireball. I believe if I remember correctly, there was some sort of white substance that he may have been doing like lines or something.
Oh my God,
it was just like, it was horrific. He like jerked himself off to sleep. And like, it's that kind of thing where it's like, bro, you're not sitting on your couch. And I do feel that there is a lot more of that at the movie theater, in the same way you're right, Kara, that there's a lot more of that on planes. And I don't think you are being the bitch in this scenario. I feel that we should have, and I'm not the kind of person that's like, we should be dressing up when we go on flights. Why is everyone wearing sweatpants? Like, I'm not one of those people. But like,
people just have been by themselves for a long time. They've been by themselves or with their loved one, and they don't understand the communal experience any longer.
No,
like they just, and also I think everyone's attention spans have like gone to shit. Like I host a stand-up comedy show, and I feel like it's so hard to get laughs out of people because they're so used to just TikTok, which are like bite-sized. You don't even have to pay attention for that long.
It's edited down.
And when you're on your couch, you don't have to laugh because you're not giving the person you're giving the person maybe a fave, but you're not giving them the interaction of I say something funny, you laugh. That is our quid pro quo that we do here at a stand-up comedy show. There's generations of people that are just completely like lost that. Like, and so it's like I don't know how we fix this.
And it's not because in my brain, it's not calling people out. I know that. I know that's not the answer. I'm not an insane person. But like there's just something about where it's like, or is it that I'm just finally getting older that I'm just, because I'm not, no, it's not. Because it's not the young people that I'm upset about. I'm not like, oh, the youth and their, it's like, no, it's the older people.
Here's the other thing. Like I just forced my young children to go see Wicked with me. Of course, I went for a second time and I made them come with me.
Love this.
And they were like, Oscar glued. He loved it. But there was a bunch of people behind us, older people. I think they may have even been from like an assisted living home that were like on an excursion.
Yeah.
They were just talking full voice in the back of the theater. And I was just like, look, it was not an AMC. It was a discount theater. But it was like, I was just like, do I say be quiet? They're much older than me. They know that movie theaters are for quiet. Like they know that. So I'm not going to so I just didn't say anything because I was like, these are my elders. Like I'm not going to reprimand them I honestly think they left a quarter of the way into the movie. They were gone.
That's so, it's because like, and then people are like, when talking about like the Wicked and no singing in the theaters, when everyone's like, yes, no singing in theaters. And I got a lot of judgment because I was like, I was singing in the theater, but let's be real here. I wasn't standing up being like, yeah. Like, I wasn't I was like lightly singing to myself in my seat. Like I wasn't being a nightmare person. Yeah. There's ways in which you like, you don't have to sit there silent the entire time, enjoy yourself, but like, if you're making that much of a hubbub, but I'm so not the person to be like, excuse me, can you quiet down? Like, I'm just not that guy. But do you have friends? Wait, are you that guy?
I can be that guy, and I can also not be that guy. Like I think when I went to see Baby Girl with you, I think we were telling you guys about how when we had to go see the Hunger Games, we were in the front row. We were next to all these teens that would not shut the fuck up. And this was years ago, the first Hunger Games movie. And I just went after a bunch of times of them just like screaming and laughing with each other. I was like, you guys have to be quiet. Like, stop. I'm watching this movie. And they stopped. But like I've been at things where my friend has like screamed at people. And I just think there's like a moderate way to go after everybody, like to talk to anybody. Like even if someone's being extremely rude, I am more of a kill them with kindness. Like, hey, would you mind like putting, but it's like, I don't know.
I don't want to have to tell you how to behave.
I know.
I'm not your parent.
If it's like affecting your enjoyment to a certain point, like I was like, but yeah.
Honestly, if someone's annoying me to that extent and I'm not enjoying the movie,
You'll just leave?
I'd rather leave than ask them to stop. Like that's how much of a people pleaser I am.
I will never give up I'll never give up a fucking dime for a person that's ruining my time. I'm like, if I paid for this, I am getting.
This is why I'm trying to be 25% more of a bitch in 2025. I'm trying to learn from you, Kara. All right, I need to bitch it up.
Like, well, do you think it's like how a couple weeks ago we took we did that DM about the people with the vape at the football game or whatever, and how she just went straight to security or whatever, or to employees. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm like, yeah, like let them deal with it. Like I'll let like I'll be like, can you go in? Like there's people in here that are doing XYZ or whatever. I can't remember even the last time I did that. But most of the time I handle it myself. But you also have to like feel out situations. You don't want to go up to a psychopath and be like,
there's that.
You don't want to go up to Love Lies bleeding jerk off Joe and be like, sir, wake up, get out of here.
But I also don't want to have to go out to the 16-year-old that's working at the popcorn stand and make them do it.
I know.
I don't want to do that.
It's just we're in a very broken, damaged world post-pandemic and like post-internet and everything where everybody is just like does not know how to be around other people.
But to the person that called in, you are not crazy. The behaviors are getting worse.
Yeah.
And
people do not know how to live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got too many bills.
If you need funds, you can apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and have the money in your account as soon as the same business day.
Okay, got it. Applying now.
They've been helping hardworking people cover emergency expenses since 2004.
Hey, look, I got it.
You've got this.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See cashnetusa.com for more details.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
So, I don't know. I guess if it was me with the people being near me, I would just like move.
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
or whatever.
Move.
But like, yeah, that's annoying. But the girl that was like on her phone and shaking the whole time. Yeah, she probably has fucking ADD and like is like not paying attention to the movie. But it's like, get out of here, girl.
Yeah. Well,
get out.
I mean, and I will say,
you can't have your phone on during Nosferatu. It needs to be dark.
Yes, I was a little bit of a bitch. I was a little bit of a bitch in the situation, and I'm never the bitch in taking out your phone during a movie. It's never me. But I will say, I was watching The Brutalist last week, and it is 4 hours long.
Oh my
God! There were fires cropping up in our neighborhood.
Oh no!
And so then because my phone was crazy blowing up, so I like pulled it out, and then I, of course, but also The Brutalist was really slow, and so I was just like looking at all the fires and like, Jeff, do we have to evacuate? Jeff, do we have to evacuate?
Yeah, that's very different.
I just
very different. I check my phone in a movie maybe once just to make sure the babysitter's not like, hi, your kids are like fucking, you know, the monkeys have taken over the asylum or whatever.
Help me.
But anyway, thank you for writing in. I love these sort of like low stakes.
Love this.
But it's low stakes, but it's also saying something bigger about society
100%.
at large. What the fuck is happening with everybody? Everybody just learn how to be around other people. Okay. Here's another email. This one is good. This is a little long, but you guys can stay with me on this one.
Got you.
You got it. My parents are in their early 60s, incredibly conservative Christian, in a tax bracket I will never hope to see, and altogether, quote unquote, weirded out by the LGBTQIA plus community.
Can I just say you've already painted a wonderful picture? I get this.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. Noted. I was diagnosed with breast cancer nearly 3 years ago at the age of 31. Oh my gosh. So sorry. That's incredibly young. Having found the tumor myself, promptly had a double mastectomy with no reconstruction and have been blessedly cancer-free ever since. Congratulations. We're so happy to hear that. I refused the tamoxifen that would have halved my chances of reoccurrence in hopes of having a baby. It took 2 years, but my husband and I are expecting a little girl this spring.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Oh my God, I love this for you. My mother also had a double mastectomy with reconstruction 10 years ago. She had multiple benign tumors removed prior. Our family history is riddled with breast cancer. So she decided to get rid of them altogether instead of waiting around for cancer to potentially develop. So your mother didn't actually she had benign tumors and then a bad family history, so she had a preventative double mastectomy. Got it. I love my scars. It's the method by which I chose to not die from cancer, identifying as more non-binary than anything. It was also surprisingly liberating once the mortality of it all faded. My mother, on the other hand, has never voiced anything but discomfort with her reconstruction from sensation to appearance. My parents were very supportive at the time of my diagnosis and surgery. My mother helped me shower for the first time post-op when I couldn't lift my arms to wash my hair. It was only the second time I've ever seen my dad cry when he visited me in the hospital. And then there's a parenthetical that says, this is why I couldn't call in, already ugly crying. Oh my gosh. Thank you for trusting us with this story.
Love.
And then I tried to enjoy the lake. My parents built a beautiful lake house the town over as their permanent residence. The first summer post-op, I had to cover my scars because they were so new and I was shielding them from the elements. The next summer, it was hot. It's a private residence on a small lake. My parents' home, safe space, right? Silly me. I had my shirt off because it's sweltering. It's a sweltering August day, and I'm at my mom and dad's house with my partner, and I have no tits. I repeat, no tits. This is in caps. Not a damn thing in sight, but some gnarly scars. My mother balked a little when she noticed, actually asking me why I wasn't wearing a shirt. I simply replied, it's hot out, and I thought that was the end of it. Long after we left, I got a text from my mother indicating that in the future, I am not to be topless at their home. It makes her uncomfortable. I'm taken aback, confused, hurt. My mother referred to it as, quote, accommodating you and your preferences as best I can, end quote. But this pushed her beyond her comfort zone. Now I'm just angry. I stopped talking to her for a month or so because I know anything I say will not be nice. She eventually notes the radio silence, texting to verify that I do not want any contact with her. Why would I want to talk to someone who is ashamed of how I chose to not die? She retorts that her asking me to wear a top does not denote shame, and in fact, it's because of my dad that she asked me to cover up. She has the audacity to compare our situation, saying that because she doesn't have nipples, she could technically go topless, but doesn't out of sensitivity to her husband, who experienced angst during her ordeal and even more during mine. Now he doesn't need a visual reminder of what I went through, and his discomfort would then make her uncomfortable. Wow. Now I'm seething. This is still the caller, but I'm also seething. And the caller, the writer. And a small part of me is wondering if they don't want their friends to see me and think I might be trans, given their distaste for anyone identifying as such. I didn't talk to them for over a year.
Wow.
Then I got pregnant, and my husband convinced me to bridge the gap and give them an opportunity to be part of their first grandchild's life. But another summer is looming, and I am at a loss as to how to conduct myself with all this. There has never been a follow-up discussion, or even one in person for that matter. I know they have not wavered in their views. If anything, they're more entrenched. Do I bring it up again? Cover myself because it's their home, their rules. Keep the peace for the sake of my daughter having access to her grandparents who love her dearly already. Are we both being the bitch? Is this a boundary or a bitch line? Much love to you both. Thank you for any insight you can provide. EJ. Oh my God, EJ. Fuck.
Oh my
This is
God.
so complicated and also shitty that you even have to go through this.
I'm so sorry you have to go through this.
I mean, the bottom line is, like, parents of that age, my parents are older than this even. My parents are older. They're in their 70s. And they're, you know, everything having to do with non-binary, trans, top surgery, anything like that. They're just like, what? Like, they don't get it.
Yeah.
And anything different is bad, you know? And so I don't agree with that at all. But it's like, I also have a gay brother, and he had to come to them and say, when I get married, you will not be invited if you do not support gay marriage.
Whoa,
so
what happened?
my mom had to really rethink her feelings and thoughts on that. So I think honestly, there's almost a world I can see where maybe you guys, since it seemed like it was like you have done all the talking over text, it feels like.
Right.
Maybe there's a way that you guys could have a face-to-face, and you can be like, listen, this is like this is what I feel comfortable doing. This is who I am. If you want to be a part of my child's life,
I need
like
your support.
Yeah, you need to support me and accept me. I would say that the compromise would probably be like, you just don't use the lake. You just don't use the lake.
Or you don't go.
You just come over, and if they're like, come down to the lake, you're like, you know what? The way I feel comfortable at the lake is topless in a bathing suit bottom or trunks or whatever you're wearing on the bottom. Like, that's how I feel comfortable at the lake. And if that's uncomfortable for you, then I'm just not going to go down to the lake. And then they don't get to see you enjoy their lake. Maybe they don't get to see their granddaughter enjoy their lake.
Right.
And that's the boundary that you're setting. That this is how I feel comfortable. I mean, like, I have a friend who just got elective top surgery. Like, and I've known a couple people who have gotten elective top surgery. They identify as she, her, and they're just like, and there are days where I'm like, get rid of these fucking things.
Yeah.
I am not, there's not a ton of love between me and my boobs. But it's just like this generation just cannot fathom like that someone would look different like that.
Of course. And that's what I also do think that, like, I was about to say, now this is coming from someone that I could never have this conversation with my father. So I understand if you feel exactly the same way. But is there, since your mom is making it so much about your dad being uncomfortable, is there a place where you could go to him and say, like, this to me is not shameful.
Yeah.
And my scars are not shameful. And in fact, even you saying multiple times that, like, this is how I chose to not die.
Yeah.
And I wonder if your dad is aware of how you feel about your scars.
That's what I mean with the face-to-face combo,
Like, I do wonder that it's like, if he knew, and again, not most boomers, you can't really talk to them or they're not going to change. Especially like you said, that was like, what do you say, the first time you ever saw your dad cry. So it's like, he might not be a person that is wanting to have that conversation or would give you anything in that conversation. But it might help you if you hear from him what is making him so uncomfortable. Like, hear him say it.
Yeah.
Then say it to me.
Because the thing is like, what it sounds like your mom is saying is like, oh, it's just too painful for your dad to relive that time. And like, that's simply not
right.
That's just not. If let's say you got into a horrible car accident and you had to get like a lower part of your leg amputated. Let's just say that. You're now never going to wear shorts again because that just reminds your family too much of how they almost lost you in the car accident.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That's why I feel like it's like, okay, if you want to, if this is where
because
you want to
it's a sexual organ, by the way. This is not because of scars and trauma. It's a sexual organ. I don't care. Like, I'm sure she's figured out a way that she could tell you, oh, it's actually about your dad. He's uncomfortable and it's traumatic for him.
This
whatever.
is what I'm saying.
It's about the fact that it's your tits and the lack of your tits.
Yes. And it makes them uncomfortable. But it's like, at this point, I don't know if you feel this way, EJ, but if I were there, I'd want to hear it from their mouths. Say it to me.
Yeah.
It's like, don't give it that. I would want to talk to a point where it's like, I'd like to find out, how do you really feel about this? Why do you not want me to? And like, if you're going to say it's because, your feelings about people without breasts and people that like, whatever choice they make, or whether or not they had a choice of having their breasts taken off.
Right.
Like, I personally would like, say it to me.
Yeah. Also, your mom comparing herself and being like, well, technically I could do that too, and I'm not doing that. It's like,
it's just not the same.
You have a completely different situation.
It's not the same.
Yours was preventative and elective. Yours was yours was from cancer.
Also, every single instance of cancer is different. It is it presents in many different ways. Every body is different. And like, how dare she do that when you like have been through so much? And I think it is just deciding, I'm proud of you for wanting to try to connect, to try to have them as part of your child's life.
After not talking for a year, I think that's good. And as somebody who also, like, I didn't speak to my dad for 2 years, and now we're talking again. Like, there are bridges back to people, I think that that's good. But again, it's like, I don't know. I don't want you to like use your granddaughter, your daughter, their granddaughter as like a pawn, but it's like, okay, if you guys, I'm inviting you back into my life now, like, and you need to, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's like, if this is their rule at the lake, then it's like, okay, if this is your rule at the lake, then none of the men can show their nipples either.
Yeah, everybody wears a shirt then.
In general, I don't understand our country's obsession with tits being so dirty.
I don't
understand like how we're like,
they're workhorses.
I see men at the beach with bigger boobs than me, and they're allowed to have their boobs out, but I'm not allowed to have my boobs out. Like, boobs, like, it's so crazy to me. If you go to Europe, you go to Italy, there's just tits are in shower gel commercials. It doesn't matter. Like, it's so crazy how puritanical we are about that here. And like you set it up at the beginning, they're conservative Christians. Like, I understand, but I think, this sounds to me, maybe it's like more also of a conversation of you being like, I identify as non-binary and like, I feel comfortable with my shirt off and like, these are not sex organs to me. Right. And like,
explaining where you are, where your brain is. But also, I mean, I feel like there's part of me that in this situation would just do it anyway.
Yeah.
And just to see, it's like, how are you going to react? What are you going to do? Are you going to scream at me in front of everybody? Are you going to I'm curious if that is also something that you would be interested in doing, just to be like, this is what I'm doing.
I never want to discourage drama because I love drama. I'd love for you to do that. But I just think you've never had a conversation. It sounds like you've never had a conversation that wasn't just text and wasn't like you just fuming after the initial text and then all that. So I feel like, right. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a converse, talk to them. Look, I understand what your fear is. I understand what your fear is. I would be just as furious as you. Yeah. But I think trying to go at it as calm as possible and then just being like, okay, well then when you want to see our kid, my child,
your granddaughter,
you're gonna have to come to my house, or we're not gonna go down to the lake or whatever. We'll come and only be inside in air conditioning where it's cold, and then we'll leave after an hour. I don't know, but I do think just having a conversation and kind of getting them to understand that you're not just trying to be shocking or whatever. You have a lot of reasons why this is how you feel the most comfortable.
Yes. Because you explained them to all, you explained it to us so well that but I imagine, I know the fear of talking to boomers. I understand. It's sometimes like talking to a brick wall.
So in this case, I think you have every right to be the bitch.
Yes.
So we're granting you power. Be the bitch.
Yes, we just absolved
see the bitch inside of you.
Now we want you to manifest a little bit more, bitch.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have time for one more email before we bounce out of here. Jackie, you want to read this?
Yeah, I'll take it down.
You've got bitch.
All right. Anywho, I'm starting at the anywho. In 2018, I reconnected with my first ever quote-unquote boyfriend. We were childhood friends and just clicked right into place. So I moved about 4 hours away from where I was living to be closer to him. Upon moving, I find a new job and meet some new friends. I was in my mid/late 20s when I met, quote, Julie, who was 20. She seemed super cool and not like an annoying teenager, so we become friends. She was super jealous of my other friends where I was originally from, who I'd been friends with for much, much longer and saw much, much less. She had a history of canceling plans, but they weren't ever anything important, so I didn't think much of it and figured if she really was my, quote, best friend, she'd never pull that shit for something serious. Fast forward to 2022, and my now husband and I get engaged. Congratulations!
Yeah.
Well, you're already married, but also congratulations! We both talked and decided it would just be better and easier not to have a best man or maid of honor because of mostly Julie, but also because he didn't want to choose between his brothers. That's fine, not a big deal. Now it's getting to the fun stuff when it comes to weddings, so I book an Airbnb 3.5 hours away from where we live to go dress shopping with my girls. Morning of, she says she's sick and can't go. Fine, I get it. Feel better, girl. Fast forward to when I have my dress alterations. Guess who cancels last minute? Yep, Julie. So my mom wanted to throw me a bridal shower. It happened to fall on her birthday. She was turning 24. Not an important birthday in my humble opinion. I was having a bridal brunch. Free food, free drinks. She freaked out and told me it was her birthday and she was so upset I'd choose to have my bridal shower on her day. Okay, if it was an all-day event, I would understand. This was maybe 3 hours. Anyway, I talked to some mutual friends about it and they all agreed it was a little shitty of her not to come. She then came to me and told me she would probably make it. I was so stoked. Come the day of the event. I text her and ask if she's coming. She says no, and I get this long diatribe about how it was so selfish of me to plan my bridal shower on her birthday. So I take a beat and tell her, look, I still want you at my wedding, but because of your track record, I cannot have you as a bridesmaid. If you bail on me day of, it would ruin everything. She has ghosted me ever since.
Yep, I knew you'd like this one.
Am I the bitch?
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. We got a lot. We got a lot here. First of all, this is immediately making me think of us being like, youth is the bitch. I mean, this is a 24-year-old girl who is being a dumb bitch. She is being a bitch. She's being a young, dumb bitch.
Yes. Selfish, young,
I will
dumb
say,
bitch.
I've been to a wedding on my birthday. I've gone to a full day wedding on my birthday where no one gave a shit and 2 people said happy birthday to me and I did not give a shit. It doesn't matter. Your birthday's not that big of a fucking deal. You can have some big ones. You can have your 30th, your 35th, your 40th, whichever ones you want to deem are the big ones, Sweet 16, 21, whatever you want to do. Those, of course, are some big ones. It doesn't fucking matter. You can celebrate it another day and everybody can come and you can still be the center of goddamn attention on the day after your birthday or 2 days after your birthday or the night of your birthday. Cut the shit with today's my day.
No.
Okay? There's a lot of people born every fucking day. Being born, you didn't do anything special.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, Kara, yeah.
You didn't fucking do anything special. So I'm sick of that shit. But also, I was part of a wedding where a bridesmaid got unbridesmaided.
Whoa,
I was
happened?
the officiant of this wedding. And so I was involved in I was at the dress fittings. I was at the bachelorette. I helped plan the bachelorette. I was at all the stuff. And then basically this friend felt like one of her bridesmaids at the bachelorette was being really selfish and shitty. And I had said, oh, I think you should just talk to her about it. And then the next time I heard from her, an hour later, she was like, I just told her she's not a bridesmaid anymore. And I was like,
whoa,
okay. And then the girl did not come to the wedding. Of course, I think when you get downgraded from bridesmaid, you're not going to come to the wedding. To have ghosted you ever since, I don't think you're the bitch. I think it makes complete sense to be based on your behavior.
Yes.
I don't think I'm not going to have there be an extra groomsman, have my pictures be uneven or whatever. It's your fucking day. You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
I'm not surprised she didn't go. I guess I kind of want to know, you want to know if you're the bitch. Obviously, you're not the fucking bitch. She's the bitch. But do you want to be friends with this girl anymore? Because it sounds like she's very young. You're probably getting up to be almost 30 and this girl's 24. And she's young. So it's you could wait for her to come around. You could keep reaching out. I don't really know. But this doesn't sound like the kind of person you even really need to be have in your life, because it's what you said before. It's what you said in your email when you're oh, I figured she'd never pull that shit for something serious. Well, she has. So now she has shown you who she is.
Yes.
Right? Doesn't matter how fun she is watching Housewives on a Tuesday. It doesn't matter how fun she is getting drunk at the bar on a Saturday. When you really push came to shove and you wanted her to be somewhere, not only did she not come, she made things about her. You had to reach out to her to say, I'm not coming.
Ridiculous.
You had to,
Well, because you also have to remember, and I feel like maybe I say this too often on here, but you got to be a friend to have a friend.
Yeah.
And relationships, regardless of whether they are a sexual relationship, no matter what, a relationship takes work.
Yeah.
Friendships take work.
And that's unfortunately a thing that 20-year-olds don't know.
They don't know it
they're
yet.
just wait, I'm not having fun in this moment. What's happening?
Next.
Yeah.
And they can bounce off to something else. But I feel like that also comes from not necessarily, you don't have to have had gone to college to know this, but I feel like it's one of those things where in the same way when you're young, you look at older people being like, why you have such a difficult time dating? You just throw a rock and you date somebody, which is what you learn in college, is because you're surrounded by people that are your age.
Everybody's single, pretty much.
You're in this environment that's all insulated. And then you go into the world and you just kind of assume that it's oh, okay, well then you're not in my life anymore and now you're not my friend anymore and I'll just continue on. I'm just going to go make other friends. Where I feel like it's different when you hit closer to our age, where it's I've put many years into my friendships. This shit ain't just going out the window.
I know.
Because I've been there. I've showed up. I did all the things.
Yeah.
But they've done it in them too.
Yeah.
And so at this point, it's this is not
Well, and you also said at the beginning, this is a girl who's also jealous of your other friends. And this is a girl that's just there's red flag after red flag in what you're writing about her here. She has a history of canceling plans. She's unreliable. So if you're making a pro and con list here, this seems like a pretty decent list of cons.
Yeah.
And I don't know what pro is, maybe that she's fun or whatever.
She's gotta be fun.
Yeah. If you are, I don't know, you said she's ghosted you. I don't know if you feel like maybe you want to put it to bed. You could write her one final message being hey, I'm sorry that you felt badly, but I really couldn't have, this was a huge day for me and I couldn't have risked it. And I thought that you were centering yourself. I'm open to talk about it. I hope that one day we can reconnect, but I wish you well, whatever. If you want to put it to bed.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's coming back to you. I think this girl's either going to stay like this forever, or maybe she'll reach out to you in like 3 years and be like, damn, I was a fucking wreck.
Bitch.
Look at me.
I have done that to people before.
She's young.
Like, don't get me wrong. I have definitely wronged someone and then years later went back and was like, hey, I'm really sorry about how I acted because I was a young, dumb, beautiful idiot. And because I made a lot of mistakes, because you do when you're young. But it doesn't sound like you want to be friends.
Yeah. It just doesn't sound like you're going to be getting, like, as you get, you're getting older, you're getting married, like you're kind of maturing, and you kind of realize that friendships are about like who is going to be there for you and who can you rely on. And it sounds like she's completely unreliable. And maybe in 5 years she'll be more reliable.
Exactly.
And you'll reconnect. But I don't know. For now, sounds like, but wow. Everybody get over your fucking birthday. Sorry. That's it. Get over your fucking birthday. Although
I understand.
That girl that didn't pick up the Nintendo Switch, I was like, it's your day. Don't you dare pick up that Switch. And now I'm like, who cares? Just there being a wedding or something huge that's like, it's surrounding a wedding weekend, or it's like whatever. It's like, it's 3 hours in the morning. You get to dress up and go to a cool event and eat for free. Great birthday present.
Yeah.
Then in the evening, you can have your birthday dinner.
I literally just did this to a friend of ours because we are hanging out. I wanted to do something for an anniversary of sorts.
Yeah.
And it happened to fall on a friend's birthday. So what did I do? I reached out to the friend. I was like, hey, this is on your birthday, but we kind of want to do this thing. Could we celebrate you as well? Or were you planning on doing anything?
Yeah.
And he straight up was like, oh, I wasn't planning on doing anything. That sounds great. Would love to do that.
Perfect.
Done.
Done.
And it's communication. That's also something you learn as you get older.
Put it on a t-shirt.
You know, we got to communicate. We got to communicate, guys. But thank you so much for writing in.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And if you guys want to write in, please go to if you want to write in, call in, go to who'sthebitch.com. That's got everything. You can also call us if you want to have a live conversation with us.
Please
call in during our live streams. Our next live stream is on Monday, January 27th.
Yes.
The link is also at Who's the Bitch.
Twitch.tv/LPNTV.
Yes. And you can follow us on our Instagram, Who's the Bitch LPN. Message us there if that makes you more comfortable. Again, if you're going to message us on the thing, message us first and say, I'm about to send you a story so that I can accept it and you can get the whole story, because it's like a whole thing where it cuts you off after a certain amount of characters or whatever.
Thanks,
and
Instagram.
We love you so much. If you're calling to leave us a voicemail, try to keep it under 5 minutes. Maybe write down some of the points. We can't.
Because it will cut you off.
Yeah, we also it cuts you off at 5 minutes, and we're kind of sometimes we just can't play the ones that are just super, super long. So
give us them deets, and we love it.
And if it's too long, call us, because we'll get to the dirt quicker in a call.
Yes.
We want the live calls the most.
We want the juice.
But thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Go find that bitch and go tell him she's a bitch.
And tell the other bitches in your life about us, and subscribe on Apple and Spotify.
Anybody can be a bitch. We love you guys, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.